Ooh, what's up, jobbers, and welcome to the latest edition of the Jobber Knocker podcast. As always, Nestlemania alongside for the ride is a man that claims he can beat Mike Tyson in 8 rounds, JC.
I could beat him in 18 rounds, baby. I could beat him in 1 round. I'd knock his ass out.
Mama said knock you out, and JC would have
had a lot of that in my life lately.
Yeah.
All about the cup, baby. Big win last night.
Big win. Woo, woo. Sorry. Couldn't help myself. So we have JC returning. We had our boy Dom subbing in for JC. JC, were you yelling at Nestlemania and Dom?
Here's the thing. You know I love Dom, but Jesus Christ, Dom, you got to take off the AEW glasses. He comes on here and talks about how fucking great that show is. And then last week, Tony Khan takes the biggest fucking shit on television. That was fucking dog shit. That might have been worse than one of the worst episodes they had of the whole year. Granted, I agreed. They had 3 good weeks of momentum, but now between this and this fucking Costco fucking family wrestling at the pay-per-view, fuck this shit. Cancel AEW, throw it to the moon. Like, it's just disgusting. Absolutely deplorable. And Dom, shame on you.
Well, I just want to give a personal thank you to Dominic for coming in and subbing in.
Yeah, Dom's the best. His AEW opinions are just, good God.
I mean, he's allowed to have an opinion on the program.
No, not if it's Ron. That's why I have to fix you every week.
You don't fix me. You endure me, right?
Survive you.
Survive me every week.
Survive the Nestle should be the new t-shirt.
Survive the Nestle. Yeah, just like Taz. Survive if I let you. Through my terrible takes. So we got a lot to talk about. We got to talk about, of course, AEW Full Gear, as JC had said, as well as we've got Raw, we've got SmackDown. I think he might sprinkle in some NXT. He might go off on AEW. I don't know. The world is his oyster, folks. It's back. It's back big. JC, you're Mr. Positivity most of the time. I'm going to let you take the wheel.
Always in the shine, much like Mandy Rose, where she finished her career at WrestleMania. NXT. And look at Raw and SmackDown, pretty fucking mid this week. We're going head-to-head with AEW right now. We're going to beat them in the ratings because, woof, everyone does these days. But we'll get to Full Gear at the end. Maybe, shit on something in the heat. We never know. But we're going to start with NXT Nestlemania because you know what? You know what happened last night at NXT?
There were a lot of things that happened.
My boy, and I'm saying my boy because I am officially, I've started to like him for a while, but I'm officially super in now because his new character and the work he's done has been so great. My boy, Ridge Holland, destroyed Chase U. He took Andre Chase, put him in a ball and said, get the fuck out of here, bitch. No more Thea Hale. No more Duke Hudson. No more Flippy Dippy, Riley Leonard, or Riley, I don't know what the fuck his name is.
It's
Riley
fine. It's fine.
Flippy Dippy boy. You know what? Look I've always been kind of a Chase U hater, but I've said I understand their purpose. I enjoy them for the most part. I think Thea has a big future. I enjoy Duke, yada, yada, but it was kind of sweet to see Ridge Holland because it's one of those things you're thinking, man, this is the number 1 contender. So I feel like Ridge has to win, but it was like, man, is he really just going to destroy Chase U over and over again? I love this. Ridge Holland brought Chase U to their biggest accomplishment, winning those tag titles with Andre Chase. And then when they lost him because Andre Chase wasn't good enough, he has completely and systematically destroyed Chase U. If that isn't a fucking top heel, I don't know what is. I just think his work has been good. This was a guy we've been very hard on for good reason. He's had some tough luck and some really tough moments between his own injuries and injuries inflicted on other people. So it's one of those things like he's been in NXT, with these reclamation projects, it's really your last shot. And he's a guy that I think has just succeeded And it just like I'm watching him, I'm like, this guy is a believable heel. He's always had the look. His promos have gotten better because he seems a lot more comfortable. And I'm in Nestlemania. He's not going to beat Trick Williams. No, of course not. I'm not saying that, but they've built him up as a legitimate threat. And it's one of those things. When would I have ever thought in my right mind that I would lead a show with Ridge Holland versus Andre Chase? But Nestlemania, that's how fucking good NXT is. That's how good the Heartbreak Kid is. And man, what a culmination to a story that was last night.
So I am curious, is it worth getting rid of Chase U just to have Ridge lose to Trick Williams? Like if let me just ask you this. Would it be more of a satisfying ending if Ridge Holland ran train on everybody and then became the NXT champion?
I don't look at it as the same thing. I look at it as like it's two separate. Like this is now Ridge can finally move on. He accomplished his mission. And to me, like what he did in this storyline, it wouldn't be bigger than winning the title, but it was like this was the accomplishment. I don't expect him to beat Trick right now. Who knows? Maybe the match they have, whenever they have it, will have some chicanery and they'll have to do it again. So they'll prolong it. You never know. You never know what they do with these title matches and stuff. But I just look at it as two different things. Like this book is now closed. And he was so dominant that a lot of times when you come out of these storylines, you have to capture the momentum with a title fight. That doesn't mean they always have to win, though, because obviously Trick's the newest champion again, but he's like the face of this company. He's probably going to be holding this thing up till WrestleMania weekend, I would assume. But we kind of, I don't know if we discussed it, but I've kind of like thought about it myself, is that like after Ethan Page, it felt, I think we have discussed it actually, like who's really next that is a believable heel challenger for Trick Williams? And they built one here in Ridge Holland. And eventually I would assume Obafemi's going to return and probably be the guy at one of these big ones. But it's like Ridge is the guy right now. Wesley could be a guy maybe too, but like there was a reason why the Trick Ethan feud dragged as long as it did. I didn't think it dragged. I thought it was great, but you know what I'm saying here, that it went as long as it did because they didn't really have anyone ready. Ridge Holland is ready, and this will probably be another very good feud because Ridge is doing the best work of his career by far. Now, I'm not saying like it's one of those things. He's definitely probably gonna get another chance in the main roster. I'm not saying he's a future world champion or anything like that, but he's proven to me in this feud that he is capable of being a guy worthy of main roster television time, the character development, the improvement, that he's the guy that they definitely shouldn't be done with because there's a lot more work he can do.
Fair enough. Anything else that you think was very positive?
Oh, we're going to stay on NXT Nestlemania because
Jesus.
We had Stephanie Vaquer versus Jada Parker. I was practicing the shoulder shimmy she does during the I just can't do it. That's how much fucking swag she has.
She has it's almost like a swing dislocation. She's like,
yeah, I don't know how she does. Like I've been practicing, but just like I look like a fucking awkward little chooch trying to do it. But she's just like it's like smooth and it's just so badass. Look, I was impressed with this match in Nestlemania. I enjoyed this match. I thought it was a good way to kick off our Survivor season. Obviously, Vaquer got the big win because here's the problem with these women's matches. If we know Vaquer, Julia, Delta, like they're fucking stacked with all these new members. They're all going to be in it. So it's just like when you see Jada going up against Vaquer, it's like, well, she's not going to be in it. Maybe she gets the last chance thing. But we saw my girl come out with a brick because Lola ain't forget. So that means we're getting Lola Jada too. And I can't wait for that. But I thought this match was great. It was probably my favorite match at NXT. Thought it was a good showing. Jade is someone who I think is continuing to improve. The character work is there. The wrestling is going to have to catch up, but I thought she made good strides in this match, and it helps to have a dance partner like Stephanie Vaquer. You're getting there. You're definitely doing it better than I do, but it's not quite there. You don't have Jada Parker swag.
Honestly, I just gotta watch it a bunch of times that I can guarantee I'll nail it.
I literally was practicing the mirror, and I
feel like I'm going to dislocate my shoulder just doing this. Oh shit! There we go. I don't. These medicines for those. There's medicines for those twitches. Thanks, appreciate that. You're a gentleman and a scholar, you buffoon. But so look, there's something about Jada Parker. You just look at her and you're just like, yep, you just get it. You just like you don't have to like her. You just get it. You know what I mean? Like that's just who it is. It's weird that it was Stephanie Vaquer in NXT or whatever they calling it, or. It felt like it was different. Maybe they just.
I don't know if I've heard it Vaquer or Vaquer. I probably said it 3 different ways in my little preamble there, but
I don't know. I think Vic says it like Vaquer. So,
yeah, I've heard a million.
Anyway, don't matter. She's a fucking stud too. So, yeah, it's good stuff. I'm not necessarily sold on the Iron Survivor. It feels too much of like. I get it. I don't mind it, but it's just it feels like weird to me. Like it. I appreciate them trying to do something different, but I'm never like huge into that entire thing. But it's a good way to end the year, and I like that it ends the year. I think that
Yeah,
that's
I like
okay.
it because it's kind of one of those things where it's obviously a showcase. The rules, like whatever, you can think whatever you want about them. They're not obviously my favorite either. I think the matches are fun though. But I think it's just kind of a showcase, like you said at the end of the year. But I think it's also like the main roster has a Royal Rumble. Instead of NXT doing like a Royal Rumble type thing, this is kind of like their big event, which sets up two major contenders going into the new year. And that's what I really like about it because it's a unique way to do it. They make it feel important. They have all these that's the thing. When you have qualifying matches for things, it makes it feel more important. And obviously, like the whole pay-per-view, PLE, whatever, is branded for these, but it just like I mean, that's what launched Roxanne into like it solidified her as a dominant person. So it'll be interesting which of the super stud woman will win it. And then I think the men's is absolutely wide open. So I think that's exciting.
Yeah, it's funny how I feel like, with the exception, it's really weird to right now as I'm watching NXT, and it feels like, they've always had a huge men's division. But I'm looking at it and I feel like this is the first time that the tag team in the men's division and in the men's division in itself feels like there's a void, feels like they're waiting for someone to break out. They're waiting for the next person to do something special. Versus you watch the women's division, and like you said, there's 5 to 10 studs. It's unfucking believable because I can't even remember. Like, you can go back to the 4 horsewomen, I think, but I don't even think like Rhea and Belair were a thing at the same time.
Yeah, but they weren't even like,
not even like this.
Bianca wasn't even the top one till the end. Like it's just she was down there with all those other women. Like it's one of those like it's insanely stacked, and that's why it'll be so interesting to see who translates to the next level and who doesn't, because it's not always the ones that you think. Like Io was a huge deal down there, and she was there on there at the same time as Bianca, but obviously Bianca's kind of surpassed her just because like her ceiling was just so much higher. Where Io, we kind of already knew like the stud that she was, so she didn't have as much room to grow. So it'll be interesting to see for these women. We obviously have like these Julia and Vacker who are just super studs, but they're more polished, finished products. But then you have all these women that are just still raw talents. Like, which one of them are going to be the ones that like skyrocket at the next level? So it's exciting to see. I think it creates great competition. But what I really like about NXT right now too is because, yeah, the tag division, like there's not a lot of big names, but they go out of their way to show you that there's a lot of teams. And I think that's why the men's singles division seems emptier. Because I think, look, at the end of the day, NXT is developmental. And they're like, what are our weaknesses on the main roster? Women's division, tag division. So what are we focusing on NXT? We obviously have this stable of women that are going to come up at some point. But it's also like, we need to cultivate some tag teams. Maybe find some guys that might work better as single stars down the line, but like we need to see if like there is some tag team shelf life for some of these prospects or more like people that have been around. What works? Are there teams that we could actually bring up and succeed at the next level? Because at the end of the day, the NXT is supposed to be a feeder for Raw and SmackDown.
Fair enough. Anything else? Do you want to get off NXT?
We can go off NXT. I can't talk about NXT all day.
All
But
right.
Nestlemania, God, my biggest shine of the week on Raw and SmackDown. You know what? My biggest shine of the week is probably Ludwig Kaiser because I thought he looked like a stud when he's wearing those tight t-shirts, and I'm just like, man's doing something tonight. He's wearing a tight black t-shirt. He is popping out of that thing, and I love that he told Sheamus, like he reminded him, like you ain't getting away with it, because we kind of heard Pete Dunne do the same thing to him, and it's like Ludwig's actually backing it up. So I love this, like. I love the little teases we always get with Sheamus in the IC title. And I love that now it's just like Ludwig. It's not CM Punk McIntyre, but they're kind of taking that model, being like, anytime you get close to something you want, Sheamus, I'm going to be there to ruin it for you. So I love that aspect about it. It also saves Braun and Sheamus for down the line, because I think that's a mega fight they could do again at any time. People will be above it, whether it's a pay-per-view or TV. Like that is a high-level match that is just a lot of fun. Those guys, I think, could fight all day. So I love that in here, but I love the little stuff Ludwig did with Gunther, the little character work, being like, no, it's time for you to prove it. And it's just like, I love this, because a lot of the times the lackey for the main guy is always just doing lackey shit, but Gunther goes out of his way to make sure Ludwig is doing stuff for himself too, because Ludwig is really fucking good. So it's nice that he's still, even though he's still at Gunther's side, he's still having opportunities to shine on his own as well.
Is it interesting to you that it seems like they've kind of sort of teased, or maybe gently suggested, that they're going their separate ways there?
It's one of those that it's like, it feels like it's one of those where I think they want to have Gunther kind of stand on his own a little bit as champion, but I don't think they want to obviously sever their relationship. So by doing it this way, it's like, Ludwig, go handle some business on your own because I got this. But it's also like he's still at arm's length, where if we need him for something, we can pull him right back in.
I also got very chubbed up when Gunther looked at Ludwig backstage and he just stared at him and he goes, "Look into my eyes. What do you see?" And
Yeah,
I went,
yeah, he's teasing it, baby.
"Oh,
It's the
yeah,
breadcrumbs.
yeah."
I
It
almost
might be
wore that
Royal
shirt today
Rumble.
just for that reason. Not even kidding.
What?
I almost wore my CM Punk shirt today just for that reason. Just for that.
I was thinking to myself, if he wins at the Royal Rumble, it's fine. But I think he really wants to win the Royal Rumble too. So I don't know. It's something else to me. So
I think because we haven't really done like a Royal Rumble look ahead here, and we're getting closer to that. I mean, it's in February this year, pretty much, so we got a long ways to go. But I mean, if you're thinking off the top of your head, it feels like CM Punk has to be behind the list, unless they do like the fucking Rock or something like that.
yeah, which could happen. I've heard.
Yeah,
I've
but
heard
here's
rumblings.
the thing: like, it's just like that's the beauty of having the two titles, is you don't need to do that with him. He just has to show up. Whereas like for CM Punk, it's just like a legacy thing, or if it's someone else, like it's more of a legacy type thing where it's like The Rock literally doesn't need it. He walks out there and it's like, I'm coming for you, Cody. Okay, you can put your fake title on the line too. You know that shit's coming.
Mm-hmm.
The people's title, or whatever the fuck he calls it.
Yeah, the people's champion. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that it's interesting to see what happens. When that came out, I went, ooh, that was quite something. Anything else that you found that was very positive? That's a no.
Really. No.
Can I just say something really quickly? I thought that looking at Jacob Fatu and Bronson Reed together, I was like, I want this tag team yesterday.
I will say I like, and the reason why this isn't falling the shine is I like the Bronson Reed. He kind of looks like he fits in on the bloodline. Right. He's a badass, and I think it's
he actually has the tattoos that look similar.
Yes,
too.
But I also think it's like, we talk about needing legitimacy on that team. Like, they now have a fucking monster on their side, which I think is something, if we were doing the 5-on-5, if it wasn't going to be The Rock, which it clearly never was, it needs to be someone legit. And like, as good as Kevin Owens is, he doesn't really fit as like the monster on their team. Whereas now you have Bronson Reed and, like you just mentioned, Jacob Fatu. Like, that is a legitimate major hill for the babyfaces to overcome. The reason why this wasn't in my shine was because I'm not really keen on the other half.
That's fine. We can talk about that later. I just wanted to say, because when I watched that, I went, ooh, those two pairing together.
Bronson Reed looked like he fit right in.
I know. I was just like, it doesn't matter to me, but man, this is fucking fun. Something else that I thought was really, really interesting here. We'll go over to Raw, because there's a lot of tough stuff on Raw, but the one thing I really kind of enjoyed here was the Miz's part here with the backstage segment with the Academy Award and the whole, like, just him. When I see the Miz with Final Testament, I'm looking at it going, this is a fascinating concept to me. Like, I don't even know why it works, but it works. It's a CD feud, whatever, maybe an F feud, but it works. And I kind of like it a lot, because you see that, you see the New Day stuff, kind of say, like, they brought up the Cross thing again, and I was like, okay, I get it. And then once Miz was done with this Hollywood nonsense, it went back to Cross, which was like, I've been trying to tell you all the truth the whole time. And I was just like, okay, I'm starting to believe this character. Don't make me regret this. Just don't make me regret this. I'm not fully in, but the Miz has made me at least dip my toe in this to believe that this might be halfway okay.
That's Point one, the Miz makes everything better without fail. He's just that damn good. Point two, I've had the guilty pleasure that I've slowly been admitting that I've enjoyed what they've been doing with Final Testament, even a little bit before Miz, because I think they kind of took them a step back and bought in more to Karrion Kross's strengths, which is not in the ring and just backstage stuff. Because the minute he gets out there, it comes off a little, but that's why he's got the two big goons behind him. So,
Do you want to just get to the heat? Get him off my TV. Get him off my TV. Get him off my TV. Do you want to just go right to the?
Yeah, let's get into Seth Rollins, because this is the major problem with this. It's just, A, I don't want it, but B, it's also just like there's just so many moving parts with Seth. Like we had to go through the Cody one, and even with that one, I said like they sold us because they did good job production wise, but I still didn't like it. But this one, it feels even worse, because The difference between Seth and Cody is the fucking superhero who does what's right. Even if he doesn't want to, he does what's right. And in his mind, joining forces with Roman Reigns, what was right. That's what the superhero does. Sometimes the enemy of the enemy is your friends. But for Seth Rollins, it is just so much more. He literally pretty much wrestling suicided himself at WrestleMania to make sure Cody beat Roman and ended the dynasty. And now it's just like, and yeah, they've played it up a little bit, but it's like, I know like Dom has been big on this and everyone like that is kind of rushed. Like this is the one that I felt like needs a lot more fucking flexibility and breathability, because to have Rollins buy in, it can't be the same as Cody with just getting some attacks. Like it is just, this goes so much deeper because Seth and Roman's history is like what, 10, 12, how many years, ever many, 15, even, I don't even know, years of like story. And there's so much bad blood there. And Seth literally seppuku'd himself at WrestleMania, sacrificed himself to end Roman's reign. So this is a tough buy-in for me. No matter how many Bronson Reeds you put on the other side, this one is hard to swallow.
Our boy Dommy's in the chat saying Rollins cannot cave here.
He shouldn't, but he's going to. And I'm not sure I'm going to be satisfied with his reasoning for
12 years, just War Games. There you go. That's a good shield stat.
I know Dom's got the stats.
Dom's a stat guy. I'll give him that.
He's got the good deep knowledge, and he's got the great knowledge there, and the bad AEW takes, just little sprinkles on top.
Well, he's got to even it out. You know, he can't be right about everything. So what does it say? So this is how Rollins turns heel. May I have the floor?
Yes.
Okay. First off, you're all going to say I'm wearing the shirt anyway, because I figured my cold takes are going to end up going to be, making fun of him. So the Nestle Curse t-shirt, go buy it at tpublic.com/jobberknocker in any type of color or sweatshirt, t-shirt, or maybe you want a flag, maybe you want a coaster. Coasters, Feeney, coasters. I was thinking about this, and I think Seth Rollins will not be part of this War Games. I think we can rest easy here. And I thought about this long and hard because I really don't want him on there, because I think if Seth Rollins says, I hate Roman Reigns, I cannot do it. Like he even said it on Monday, I can do it for Jimmy, I can do it for Sammy. Hell, I can even do it for you, Jimmy, and Jay. Like I love the Usos, but I can't do it for Roman. And here's my thought process right here. So the whole point here is we're talking about the topic of our conversation, and what the topic of our podcast is: wise man out of service. They had a backstage segment on Friday where the end was supposed to call Heyman and his phone was out of service. Now you can go off on a tangent here and think Sammy had the phone and threw it. Maybe that was a throwaway. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was a red herring. But all I kept thinking about was, what about this scenario, JC? We have like another week or so till Survivor Series?
The end of the month, right?
Yeah. I think it's like the Saturday or Sunday.
A week from Full Gear, probably, right?
Yeah. So we have that. Here's what I'm thinking. You tease the Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins showdown, and you make it seem like maybe something's going to happen. Maybe he's going to join, but he doesn't. He just doesn't, because he stands by his word. I think it's character assassination if he teams up with him. That's in my opinion.
Completely agree.
So here's what happens. The phone's out of service because if you looked, Solo killed Heyman's phone back, in whatever he fucking powerbombed his ass. But before he powerbombed his ass, Heyman talked to one person. And I'm just thinking to myself, you wait and you wait and you wait, and no one's in that cage. And they're like, Seth Rollins isn't coming. Fucking Cody can't come for some reason because he's beating up KO.
KO beat him up.
Right. You know what I mean? You just keep looking, and it's just like, holy shit, these baby faces are going to get their ass handed to them. And then all of a sudden you just hear, look in my eyes. And he comes out with Paul Heyman, because Paul Heyman was the last person to deal with somebody on that side.
This isn't bad, Nestle.
And you have
this for your hope.
You should. No, I'm telling you, this is
pretty good.
And you have CM Punk do that. And you're like, all right, like he saves the fucking day. He gets the nod from Roman, and you're like,
he gets to do a stare down with Roman at some point, which is what Triple H loves to do now is tease the future.
So you think that, and you're just like, holy shit, because that's the moment. Like, whether you like it or not, that is a moment. And
2
I think
years in a row at Survivor Series for CM Punk.
I mean, I mean, honestly, Punk has done a lot of amazing things at Survivor Series. So I feel like whether it's a moment or wrestling,
yeah, Nestle, this might be your best ever. I hope this fucking happens. I hope you didn't just curse it. Triple H listened and was like, "Ah, fuck it, I'm not doing it anymore."
Yeah,
this is some of your best.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
This is actually really good. I want this to happen now. If it doesn't happen, I'm gonna be disappointed.
I hope it does, because
when Seth agrees to fucking team.
No, but here's the thing. Here's the added bonus. Here's the fucking cherry on top of this entire thing, right? You have Seth Rollins sticking by his morals, being like, I'm not going to help Roman Reigns. He gets uber pissed. He's like, and even more of a reason to hate CM Punk.
Yep.
And then you're off to the fucking races.
It writes itself. It's so good.
Yeah.
That's perfect. It needs to happen.
It needs to happen. And I'm not going to put myself over, but buy the t-shirt. That's all I got to say. Okay. All right.
Don't ruin it. Don't ruin the moment. just take the credit and just smile. Don't fucking ruin the
Joe,
moment.
What kind of fucking nonsense is this? Punk comes out and Rollins takes him out. What are you fucking smoking? Are you in your fucking snuggie right now watching AEW? Aren't you supposed to be watching the fucking dumbasses flipping around for 2 hours? Come on.
Tell me what time that fucking dipshit Costco piece of shit is on so I can just skip 10.
There's no way, Joe, that you can even tell me that Full Gear is a good show. I can't in good conscience think it's going to be a good show. Anyway, moving on. Now that I've predicted the world coming to an end at War Games, we're going to move on to other things here. I'm not a huge fan of this Cody KO thing just yet. It's very bizarre to me. I feel like it's like a stopgap, and I understand that, and I'm sure they're setting up fucking what's it called, the Garden, or no, Long Island.
It's gonna be the main event that other show. It's not gonna be part of Survivor Series. Don't hate. I like that this stuff is kind of spread out. It makes it all feel more important.
I do, but that's just. I don't know what it is. It just feels awkward in a way to me. I don't know what it is, and it's like I can
tell you what it is, and I hate it because I hate that it's the reason. But it's you don't buy KO as a challenger. You don't buy him. You don't buy him as being on Cody's level, even though we know he is, and we love him, and he's one of our favorite wrestlers. I think he's an absolute stud. We don't buy it yet. No matter how many times he beats him up, he hasn't been treated anywhere near as an equal to the main event scene, and that's why when they did it the first time, it didn't have to main event.
Right. That's fair.
And it sucks. That's fair. And we're like huge KO guys. I loved him. He's a motherfucker. I love him. But that's what it is.
It's tough to watch. It's tough.
I don't know about tough to watch.
I'll say this much. If he's not going to go to KO's home and beat him up, then I don't care. Like,
they're going to do something. But again, he's the American-made white meat babyface superhero. So he's going to do what is right, Nestlemania.
Also, can we have a moment of silence here for LA Knight? I think he's finally done. I think he's finally done.
I'll say this because I kind of agree with you for the most part, but I thought this week I actually was entertained by that segment.
I thought it was great. He's the only one that can call me daddy is your lady over there.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think besides Logan Paul, some of LA Knight's best work, especially on the mic, has been with Santos. Mm-hmm. They have a weird chemistry. I still think Santos is going to be the guy to eventually beat him. That's why I didn't mind that he's did the Berto Open Challenge here. He'll probably fight Angel next, and then eventually he'll do this. But it still feels like, because we know Santos is a Triple H guy. I think he's a stud too, but we know he is a Triple H loves him, and he wants to tap into that market. And having him at a U.S. champ eventually is like the sweet spot for Santos because he's probably never going to be a world champion, but a mid-card champion, absolutely. And it feels like he is the perfect foil for LA Knight. I mean, they feuded before he had the title. They feuded for the title. Like, it just is one of those things. But every time it's like, I feel like this kind of saves LA Knight a little bit because I do agree. Like, besides that, lately, it's been rough. But I thought this segment this week was better. It's not in my shine, but I thought it was better.
I think this is the ceiling. There's nothing wrong with that. I just feel like this is
his champion. That's what we always said.
Make a boatload of money. Make a boatload of money on that merch, baby. Just let sail into the sunset till you're done. And I get it. Like, he's probably going to be a good manager someday if he wants to be, or a mouthpiece, or maybe on commentary or something. He's going to be fantastic. He's got a lot. He's got a look. He looks fantastic. It's just, it's like I feel like the hype train is just so heavy on him that he'll never be able to live up to the hype. And that's not a fair assessment, but it's the truth. It's the perception of what's going on. He's just not what we hope him to be, and that's okay. But I think I've, in my opinion, I'm on to the next thing. I want to see what's happening next. There's a lot of
you're
baby
like most
faces.
wrestling fans. You have no attention span. Once you get it, you don't want it anymore. You know, it's okay.
I'm not in the mood to watch him. I'll be honest. He is not a wrestling person for me. He is an entertainer, and I want to see him entertain me. I don't want to see him wrestle. That's all.
I will be interested again once he loses the title and comes back as a heel.
Fair enough.
This has definitely played out. I don't disagree. But unfortunately, we're in the minority because, see, this motherfucker's still super over. There's a reason he's on TV every week. There's a reason he still has that title.
Right. Okay. I'm a little confused on the tag title situation in general.
You're getting what you want. You want this evil Ciampa. You're getting it.
I know. That part's fine.
They're doing a triple threat, and that match is going to fucking bang, dude.
No, I know.
And I hope it's a ladder match.
Again?
Why not? A ladder match? I'd take a ladder match once a week.
Give them table ladders and chairs, right? And stairs, of course. But do something like that. It's the end of the year. We're not going to have a lot of but think of the gap. They don't even have a December pay-per-view. They just have the Saturday night's main event thing,
which is pretty much a PLE.
Right. Yeah. But we're not doing the Royal Rumble in January.
But right? I'm excited because I feel like with Triple H, I feel like the Royal Rumble will get better treatment. Maybe we'll have qualifying. You know what I mean? Maybe it'll feel more than just random. You know what I mean? So I'm hopeful for that. But obviously, yeah, you look at it, it's wow. But I think it's because there's obviously logistical reasons why they do it. But I still am excited to see how they do. But I do think the Saturday night thing, they're going to treat it like a PLE. That's why Cody KO is main eventing that.
They're also probably worried about the Netflix move. So I get that too.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is the first show on Netflix is going to be a PLE quality thing. You know what I mean? They have a lot of these tentpole type events that they have before the Rumble. Because that Netflix debut, they're pulling out all the stops. They're doing it in LA. So The Rock's going to be there. They're pulling out all the stops.
I mean, Travis Scott's going to be performing. I assume. I mean,
they're going all in.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't buffer.
Well, I had this conversation with my friend Todd, our buddy Todd, who did the Jobber Knocker theme. And he said to me, they're probably worried about the buffering. And he goes, 60 million people were watching Titan.
Exactly. 100%.
He's he goes the same way. He's like,
no, any streaming service would buffer from that.
Right.
Not just Netflix.
He was like, if WWE does 60 million people, they're doing a fucking fantastic. He goes, even if they're doing 2 million, 3 million, they can deal with that. But 60 million, they were not prepared for.
That was my next point. So Todd gets it 100%. Because it's the same thing with these NFL games. People worried. It's you have more of a chance there than WWE, but it's this Tyson Paul thing's one of the most watched things ever. I mean, there were fucking gazillion people watching Antonio Brown's live of the fucking in the arena of the Jumbotron, that video. People were streaming that. So it's just everyone on the planet, people that you would never even think would care about this wanted to watch this because everyone fucking knows who Mike Tyson is. And the people who know Jake Paul want to see him get punched in the face.
Will he ever get punched in the face? We'll find out someday.
I mean, he's lost, so. When he fought a real boxer, he lost.
You call Mike Tyson not a real boxer?
Not anymore. He's fucking. The man can barely walk. His ass cheeks look better than his legs.
The Rikishi. If there was ever a time for Huge Wang to fucking come in the chat right now, it's right here. I'm just saying. So, is what it is. Moving on, we've got a lot to talk about, so I'll just kind of piss through the rest of this nonsense. Do you care about Judgment Day at this point? Does it feel like it's just kind of whatever?
I care, but I mean, I'm curious your take on the Women's War Games match because it's obviously very connected here. Because I know a lot of people are throwing out, it's the most random match ever, blah, blah, blah. It's these ones kind of always are because they want to showcase their top women. I'm look, is it perfect? Of course not, but I do like the way the teams have shaped up.
I mean, I'm happy that Candace gets in there. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I think that's really. I mean, she's gonna be great in there. She's gonna take a lot of bumps.
Io is Miss War Games. She's literally in all of them, all 8 of them.
And you got the power of Rhea, the power of Nia. Liv can do crazy shit. You have Raquel's power. Then you have Bianca and Jade, more power. So it's just this could be a fucking really special match.
I do feel similar in that it felt like it was thrown together too late. It was we're spending so much time in the bloodline. But now that we have 3 weeks to lead up to it, they've made sense out of it, which is great. and I look forward to it. I'm sure there'll be a big kaboom, like we talked about in some.
Well, they have the advantage match next week, Nia versus Bianca.
Well, the baby faces always lose that, so it's like whatever.
So Nia's gonna win.
Nia's gonna squash the shit out of everybody. I would even go. I would even go as far as to predict that Nia is gonna fucking beat everybody in War Games, because that just seems like it's a throwaway. She didn't win the fucking big ring at Saudi Arabia. This is a good make up for it. And then, she can say, I beat everybody at War Games, and then you can get back to making her the monster that she is, and, all that nonsense. So,
I don't know. We'll see when we predict this next week.
I mean, Rhea Ripley is the only reason.
Well, you got Rhea, Bianca, and Jade Nessel. Like, are you kidding me? Rhea, Bianca, and Jade. Like, those are like your top three, like fucking everything in the women's division right now without Becky. Like, those are the three. So, if you're going to have them lose, it's going to be special. Plus, also, if Nia loses, they can once again tease Tiffy time, who will already be right there, especially if Nia eats a pin from one of the baby faces. And then it's just like, maybe it's Tiffy time or maybe it's another tease. But either way, like, Liv's in there too. So we're getting, you have all that mixed in, which granted, you can still do that in a win, but I feel like it makes more sense in a loss. So, but we'll see. We have another week to think about it.
Predictability, right? That's the thing. Triple H has done a good job going zigging when you're supposed to zag. You know what I mean? So, and then moving on, I think there's a couple other things here, but we can get through it. I was not impressed with the Viking Raiders and Carlito and Dom. Carlito looked like he didn't want to bump. Didn't feel like he was really in there.
He doesn't like facing guys like the Viking Raiders. Come on, bro. That's not cool.
He's soft. He's just giving the backstage
segment. Some weeks he comes in and he takes some like really hard bumps, and then other weeks he's just like, "Fuck this, I'm tagging out."
Yeah, this was definitely a case of the fuckets for sure.
He's like Dom's here. Dom can take all the bumps.
Yeah. So I was like, whatever. And yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. They've done a lot of. I mean, this was a taped Raw, so it was kind of difficult in a lot of ways. And I think I didn't read it ahead of time or anything like that, but you could feel that this felt like less than
all the pumped in crowd noise.
Yeah, which was rough.
But bother you because I noticed it very much this week.
Well, it's just like the reaction.
It doesn't bother me as much.
It's the reaction thing.
Yeah, it's like whatever. But they did it big time with the baby face, especially like the woman. Like Eos was super pumped, and then someone else was.
Even the backstage segments, which clearly they didn't show live to the live crowd, like those are the ones where you see it the most. Where it's like, oh, someone made a fucking comment, and they're like, oh, like nobody does that. So. Whatever. Anyway, would you like to get hopeful?
Glorious.
You're my only hope. Would you like
to go first?
It's up to you.
SmackDown, first ever U.S. Women's Championship. What they do? Unveiled last week, and I wasn't here. But you know what? This is something they've talked about doing for a while. I think this definitely confirms to me that SmackDown's going to be 3 hours because, good God, you have a lot of fucking titles on that show. But I think especially right now and in that division, it's just like, and you look at the talent coming up, it makes sense. I still don't love it because it's a lot and they don't do well enough with their other singles titles. But I know a lot of people are calling for Michin to win this, but there's only one woman who should win this title, Nestlemania. And I know you're going to agree because you're thinking the same way. But I'm going to make it official. It's Chelsea Green should be the first ever U.S. Women's Champion. Whether it's because she actually won it or Piper actually won it, but either way, Chelsea's the person to kick this thing off because then whoever beats her, it'll feel special. They might do like the babyface moment for the first ever, like the Michin or whatever. But I mean, I don't think it's going to be Bailey. She's done plenty of first, but I think it's just one of those like this should be Chelsea's title. Like this is the thing. Like Chelsea Green is the perfect person where it's just like if she's going to be your women's world champion, it's got to be like a Carmella type moment or like having someone like Piper just help her cheat or whatever. But it's just like a mid-card title. This is right in her wheelhouse, man. And she will maximize this. She will make sure this is on TV. It'll feel important, and she'll get over whoever she's facing. So pretty simple. Hashtag JC knows. Hashtag JC's hopes come true. Chelsea Green, first ever Women's United States Champion.
Our boy, the Joe Stopper, says Chelsea Green makes it the Canadian Women's Championship, which would be fucking hysterical.
You know what? That would be funny.
Yeah. So it is pretty good. My hope is, well, I had two hopes, but I'll just do one right now. As I was thinking about this, there's a backstage segment where Ludwig and Gunther were talking, and then that didn't end, and then Gunther wanted to fucking pump his chest out and attack our boy Damian Priest there, and he fucking nailed him, and he's boom, bomb the ground. There goes Gunther. And he said something really interesting here. He goes, you might be the ring general, but on the streets, I'm a king. And I was just like, okay, you've made your point here. This is what I need. We know Damian Priest is not going to win this matchup. It's a foregone conclusion that you have to right the wrongs here for Gunther. I get that. However, in an attempt to make Gunther and our boy Damian Priest look great and good coming out of this, you got to lean into the hard paint here. Got to take a fucking technical foul here, and you got to go hard. You got to lean in to him being the Street King. That is now his new persona. That is what he should be doing. Hardcore. This entire matchup should be a street fight. That's what I'm hoping here, because it'll make Gunther out of his element. It'll make his character, which seems to be doubting himself, not being able to do this, but it makes more sense here for the Street King to have the advantage. At least it seems that way. And then Gunther, of course, somehow, some way finds his way out of it because he's Gunther and he's a fucking stud.
He hires Bad Bunny, the last person to beat Damian Priest in the street fight.
Right. But I'm just saying, lean into the Street King thing, because I think that's a full fucking thing to do. Like, I think that's a good persona for him, and it works. So that's my hope. Make it a street fight. It can be different from War Games a little bit, but
War Games.
I am in. I mean, you can even have this be a fucking kerfluffle at War Games Survivor Series, and then do a street fight at the Madison Square Garden or wherever the hell the Saturday night's main event is there. But I just feel like the Street King for a street fight just makes too much sense here for this not to happen. So there's my hope. Also,
I want the official song for Saturday Night Main Event to be Saturday. Mr. Troll AEW.
Also, it'll be the Saturday Night's Main Event song.
I know, but I want a bonus song.
I know, but here's the thing. Also, this is, I don't know if who decided who was going to have the show first, but it's fucking hysterical to me that it's like Saturday Night's Main Event and World's End happen on the same night. Like the last pay-per-view for AEW.
Close to Full Gear.
And here's the thing. And it's happening in the same state. Nay, happening both in Long Island. Can you believe that shit?
Oh man. So the
like not even New York City, literally in the same
mouth breathers are going to be at AEW. Yeah.
Can you believe that shit? Like that is going to be ridiculous to me.
That's actually kind of funny. Like
a glorified, let's say, pumped up PLE house show for WWE. Special, but not, hopefully, it might be pay-per-view quality. I don't know.
It will be. It'll be PLE quality.
But is it on Peacock or is it on NBC? I forget.
I have no idea.
Okay. Well,
I don't work for them or anything.
Well, yeah, we got to talk to somebody else we know. World's End. Joe, you are fucking high off your fucking rocker tonight. I'm usually the one taking the gummy. Priest becomes Latin King and brings back Los Boricuas. Do you know how much chest hair was in Los Boricuas? It was very uncomfortable. It was like watching people with, I'm not even going to say it. You know what? Fuck it. I'll say it. It looked like 4 dudes with Brillo pads coming out of their singlets. It was uncomfortable as a kid to watch that shit. Okay? Shave your chest. All right? If you have chest hair, cover it up. That's all I got to say about that. All right.
Nestle sometimes loves hair, but he likes it better when it's shaved off.
Yes.
Don't call it a comeback. She's been here for years, and she gonna knock you out. I'm giving my comeback to B Fab. Be fabulous. It was great to see her in the ring. We hear all the time how much work she's putting in, how much she wants it. I thought she was fine. It was a fine match. It was a triple threat, so that definitely helps. But it was nice to see her in the ring because, we obviously see her alongside the Street Profits, but it was cool. That's, again, the beauty of a mid-card title is you get these women who just kind of like, it's not believable to be challenging for a main title, but anyone is believable, at least to challenge at one point for a mid-card title. So I love that B-Fab was involved here. Love to see her get in the ring, and she's getting my comeback this week.
My immediate thought was, where the hell is Danny Grimwood? When I saw that, I was like, where is he? He's got to fucking love this shit. And then, I watched her and I went, from the entrance, I was like, okay, I'm in. And then the bell rang, and I just watched. I can't say it because I have to show it. I was watching kind of like with my hands between my fingers, like, please don't fuck this up. Please don't hurt yourself. Please don't hurt yourself.
We're rooting for you.
And I'm like, just do it. And I'm like, you didn't embarrass yourself.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. It's just like the same thing. It's like, because her and Maxine are in that same boat where it's just like they got called up before they even like finished their beginners classes, but it's just like their character work is why. So they're learning on the fly. And we see Natalia say all the time, no one works harder, and she's proud of her. So it was nice to see some of the fruits of her labor pay off a little bit, and she's just going to get better and better the more experience she gets.
It just sucks that she can't go down and hone her skills in NXT.
I mean, it's one of those things you say it can't go down, but like, what do you think they're doing when they're not? You know what I mean? And a lot of them, they do go there, like, because a lot of them live in the area. I don't know where she lives or anything, but I'm assuming since most of them live around there, so it's just like there's still an opportunity. But yeah, I also understand what you mean, where it's like to dedicate to it, but it's just one of those things. The same thing with Jade and Maxine. It's just like they have such a talent level at other things that they are wanted and needed in a certain area that it's just they got to work twice as hard with twice the harder circumstances because of it. It's the problem with being a star.
You know what's amazing to me is that you sit there and you think Maxine, Maximum Male Models, and then Max Dupree all gone except Maxine. It's kind of fucking crazy.
I mean, I would argue she was the most interesting part of that stable. As good as LA Knight was, it was like we wanted him to be LA Knight. So
right.
Maxine, like that was up her alley, and she kills it. Stud.
All right. My comeback, also for the women, I'm going to give it to Naomi because I thought on Friday Night SmackDown, and again, I judge a good match differently than other people, but you watch that crowd. Not one person was sitting in the chair. They were all on their feet for that match. There were multiple falsies in which you thought that Naomi was going to win this thing.
Naomi's good, man. She's not your stereotypical wrestler, but she's good.
I think a lot of people, including myself, when I watch her sometimes, I'm just like, okay, enough with the fucking rhythm gymnastics. Enough with the fucking stuff. Like, just
that's who she is, though.
That's who she is. And to her point, she does a good job with it. But I think her being in TNA really helped her because ever since she's come back last year, I really have thought to myself, okay, she may not get the world championship right now, but there have been times in this program when we've come in and we said she's been doing really good work. And this to me solidified the fact that I'm wrong and that she did a great job because the crowd was eating it up.
The crowd loves her. They always have. That's why she's won that title 4 or 5 times, like women's champion. Like it's not like her and Alexa Bliss had it traded off a bunch of times, but it's just like, and I understand the right. She's always gotten criticism, but it's just like, and the reason why I've always kind of defended her is just like, I don't look at her like everyone else, but I actually kind of like that she's different. Like she's never going to be your stereotypical wrestler, but she's one of those people. She knows what she's good at. She knows what she brings to the table that's different, and she leans into it, and people love her for it.
So anyway, I mean, it might have been Nia too, but I'm not going to give Nia my comeback. I'm giving it to Naomi. So congratulations to Naomi and everybody involved. Kudos to what you did there.
You know what's crazy, Nestlemania, is I am shocked that you didn't give your comeback to someone else with an N on SmackDown. We didn't even talk about it. The actual big return on SmackDown.
Listen,
Dom might kill you for what you're about to say.
If it was New Japan, I'd be all set.
He did. He just did that. That's where he's been.
I'm just saying. Shinsuke Nakamura came back and beat up LA Knight. Now,
yeah,
there have been so many false starts with this man that it is hard to get behind it. Every once in a while, they give you a crumb, maybe a couple, maybe half a cookie.
I mean, they tried it. He just wasn't good enough at this level. It just wasn't believable.
Shinsuke Nakamura
Man won the Royal Rumble, Nestlemania.
I know.
There's not too many people have done that, and I maintain he's the worst Royal Rumble winner of all time.
Alberto Del Rio's up there.
No, because Alberto Del Rio was a multi-time world champion, and it was believable. He's a piece of shit, but he was believable. This motherfucker Nakamura was never believable as a world champion. That's why he hasn't had it. Worst Royal Rumble winner of all time is not even close.
I'm sure I could think of somebody else like Vince McMahon. Or
are you kidding me? One of the greatest heel in WWE history, on the field and off the field.
Jesus Christ! Pardon? What was I say? We have to stop thinking about him as a champion type guy.
That's damning in itself, Dom. You just made our points for us. Like, that is damning. He should have never won the Royal Rumble, and I maintain that, and that is why. Because if you don't view him as a champion type guy, woof. That is more damning than anything we just said.
I'm gonna have to go back to Royal Rumble winners. Are we including women too, or is it just males? Like, he's the worst male?
It's just males. Because honestly, for the most part, it is like major mega stars. Like, it isn't. There aren't too many like Royal Rumble flops, but it's like, yeah, Del Rio he's the only one I think you can argue that's close. But again, multi-time world champion, believable champion, just a piece of shit. Nakamura, great person, not a believable world champion. That's why he never.
I mean, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Big John Studd.
I mean, you're going way back now.
No, I know. I'm looking right now. It's like it's a
murder different world back there then. So back then, those guys were very believable.
I mean, Rey Mysterio,
a multi-time world champion, one of the greatest legends of all time, Nestlemania, already in the Hall of Fame and still wrestling. But yeah, let's compare him to fucking Nakamura. Get the fuck
Edge the second time though.
It doesn't. Are you kidding? It's Edge, dude. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. These are all names. These are all fucking first ballot Hall of Famers, like creme de la creme, like mega wing of the Hall of Fame.
Lex Luger, come on.
I mean, at the time, that was the guy.
Okay, here's the thing.
Lex Luger, better than Bret Hart. I can't even say.
You can't even get through that with a fucking space. Jesus Christ. I'll say this much. I'll concede. You're right about Shinsuke Nakamura in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
I will say 1B is Lex Luger, though.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue that.
All right.
It's, at least in his, at the time, though, he was presented and he won and he,
I don't count Braun Strowman the greatest Royal Rumble.
Didn't win the Royal Rumble. He won the greatest Royal Rumble, which is a completely different thing.
You can't add the word greatest.
He had the title, which is now morphed into the title that Cody has, right?
Yeah. Anyway, so there you go. We should go to the big old finish here. We got a lot to go.
Quickly on SmackDown, we have the U.S. women's match. Whatever. Bianca Chelsea and Blair Davenport. God, let Chelsea win.
I forgot that Blair Davenport existed.
She's been off TV since her Naomi feud. Very weird, but who knows? One of those things sometimes with these UK stars, they go home for a while. You know what I mean? So we don't know. And we have a Cody KO face-to-face, so we'll get a little more there as we talked about earlier. I'm sure there'll be bloodline stuff. And then we have on Raw, like we mentioned, the Bianca versus Nia advantage match, which we know Nia will win. And I didn't see anything else for Raw. On a loaded NXT next week, we have Julia and Kalani in an Iron Survivor qualifying match. Axiom versus Ethan Page in a qualifying match. I haven't seen anything. Oh, yeah, I believe Tony D, that's why I'm wearing this shirt, is facing Sean Spears, but I don't know if it's next week or later.
Mm-hmm. All good stuff, but nothing surprising seems to be happening. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Well, I guess we have to get to the shit show now, right?
Yes, it is.
Switch it into half gear because that's what this pay-per-view looks like.
Jesus.
9 matches booked, but one of them is the fucking big piece of booming shit on the pre-show, so luckily we don't predict those. I hope fucking he stubs his toe on the way to the ring and QT Marshall gets the win by the match never starting because no one fucking wants to see this bullshit. Fuck that. I'm never going to Costco again. Banned for life because of these fucking tools. But we have 8 other matches on the card. We have a singles match in Nestlemania between MJF and Roderick Strong. Is Adam Cole Baby eliminated from this?
I think he lost to Takeshita, right? I think that's probably what they're talking about right now.
So is he gonna have a match tonight or something? I don't know. Right now it's a singles match. MJF and Roddy Strong. Who you got?
I'm picking MJF, baby, because Roddy, thanks for coming. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, because this is an easy way to have MJF, Adam Cole be at World's End.
Right.
They can do a stare down after. I will pick MJF as well. If for some reason Adam Cole gets in this match, I will switch my pick. I'm going to say it now so it's official. But if it's the singles match, there's no fucking way Roddy Strong is beating MJF. Like, what the fuck? That would be instant, demand a refund. Next up, we have a singles match once again. This match should be pretty good. Jay White versus the Hangman, Adam Page. I will take, this is a tough one. I'll take the Hangman.
Wow. All right. I didn't expect you to take Hangman there, but
me either. I really don't have a take on this one, so I'll just take the heel.
I kind of like the idea of Jay White saying like, I have your number, and the only reason you beat me was because you had Christian or something. Like, I appreciate that. Like, I always like when somebody has somebody's number. Like, they don't do that enough in wrestling. So I'm gonna hope and pray to go with Jay White on that one.
Yeah, you might be right. I just haven't, I guess, paid as much attention here as I should have. But I do agree with Joe. I do want to see Swerve and Lashley. Besides that, this is a piece of shit. We'll get to that match, but not yet. Because first off, we have this fucking clusterfuck, which will probably be a lot of fun. 4-way tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Private Party. Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn, the champions now, will defend against the Outrunners. Turbo and Truth there versus the Kings of the Black Throne, Malachi and Brody, and the Acclaimed, who everyone loves, Anthony Bowens and Max Caster. I will take Private Party to retain.
Private Party, thanks for coming. I will say this much. They've completely fucked up their tag division. When they started and when they talked about it being the best tag division, but when it started, it did have the best tag division. It had 100%. Some fucking crazy good people in that fucking tag division. And now I look at it and I'm like, Private Party is a good second tier tag team, but not a fucking like the face of the tag team division. I'm sorry. The Outrunners are more over than Private Party is, in my opinion. At least for me. I want to see the Outrunners win this fucking thing. It's not going to happen. Kings of the Black Throne, I do love both of them, but I just feel like these guys are just there to eat a pin or just take a fucking kaboom. The Acclaimed have been like just, I don't even know how to explain the Acclaim. It just feels like they've lost everything about them. So I'm going to stay with Private Party as well. What the fuck?
They mismanaged.
Also, TJ put the Outrunners. TJ put the Outrunners. I can't. I appreciate TJ for that because I wish I had enough nuts to do
Private Party didn't just win it. Like if they would have won it when they should have won it, maybe someone else would win. I'd tell you what, it wouldn't be the Outrunners though. Not especially in this type of match. If they win, it would be, I feel like, over heels or something. Next up, we have a singles match for the AEW TBS Championship. Mercedes Moné with Camille takes on Chris Statlander. Who you got?
I don't think Mercedes is losing anytime soon.
Yeah, I had a dream I made it, and she still won this match. But I do like the Camille stuff going on here because it feels like that is going to come to a head at some point.
Well, I don't know if I give a shit about Camille beating her for it.
I don't either, but a breakup, but it just, that's why I feel like I feel like it's not happening on Saturday, but I feel like it's going to continue to boil over because I just don't think Stats already had a moment like this with this title. It feels like if someone's going to get over Mercedes, it's not her.
I hope you know who I think it's going to be? Hater in the house.
I mean, that'd be great. I mean, a Jamie Hayter Mercedes Moné match would be probably the match of the year. So I am all for that match down the line. Next up, we're getting to it. The people's main event, the singles match between Swerve Strickland and Bobby Lashley. Look it. I feel like this is just the beginning of their nonsense. Lashley's not going to lose his debut. Give me Chuck Lesnar.
AEW are the best black wrestlers wrestle instead of not being on television. So give me Bobby Lashley because again, Big Bob can't lose his debut. There's no fucking way. Honestly, and Swerve has reached the mountaintop. He needs to fucking persevere. He can't just fucking win and beat people. Especially if I'm sorry. I love Swerve. But if you are a casual fan and you see Swerve Strickland and you see Big Bob Lashley, looks like he ate 2 swerves. 2!
Yeah, I agree.
And you just like, Bobby is just, Bob is a specimen. A specimen.
Yeah.
All right? Just saying.
Yeah. That's why you're in the nickname. Next up, this fucking, I mean, this is 2 young guys, but it's just like this. Maybe it's finally the moment for Daniel Garcia. Singles match for the AEW TNT. It's Dynamite Championship. Jungle Boy, not so jungly anymore. Jack Perry defends against Daniel Garcia. Nestlemania, who you got in this Clash of the Prospects?
I don't think it fucking matters anymore. I'll say this much. Jack Perry getting pushed up a fucking wall by Daniel Garcia made me go, well, I don't believe Jack Perry can hurt anybody.
Yeah, he's a Cruiserweight Classic winner.
It boggles my mind, friend.
Whoa.
I'm gonna go with Daniel.
Yeah, I am too. Give me the new champ, baby. DG.
I think it's time.
Yeah, he's come close so many times with this title. This feels like the right time, the right opponent, and I think the Perry thing's kind of played out at this point, especially now the Young Bucks have lost too. So, give me DG as well. We got 2 to go. Nestlemania. Next up, a singles match. Aussie. I. Will Ospreay defends nothing against Kyle Fletcher because he's not a champion anymore. Ospreay versus Fletcher. Who you got?
I'm gonna pick Will Ospreay, but
damn it, I thought this is where we're gonna disagree.
May I make a caveat here?
Sure.
Kyle Fletcher's doing a lot of great stuff here.
Yeah, but you can survive a loss to Will Ospreay.
Yes, and I think but the thing is I would be fucking shocked if Kyle Fletcher wins this match.
I mean, there's a lot of ways for him to cheat, but it's gonna be like the equalizers of the pew 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 and the power.
But like, I don't know. I think that Kyle Fletcher, if he needs it, I would say bravo. I would say that to me, that would turn the whole pay-per-view around if Kyle Fletcher had a fucking big ass win. Because I'm looking at, here's the thing. I hate to even make this comparison. This is where I lose all credibility in the fucking world. And I get that. I have no credibility to begin with. But when I was watching Kyle Fletcher, I went, there's a hint. 1/67th of a hint of Randy Orton in him. And I don't know what it is, but Kyle Fletcher is amazing.
All right. There he is. He's Nestle cursed. Look, I love Kyle Fletcher. I think he's great, but I don't know about that Randy Orton comparison. I don't know if that's it. So yeah, I don't know about that one. But Nestlemania, would you like to get to the main event? Tells you all you need to know about this pay-per-view.
Do we really need to?
Jon Moxley defends the AEW World Championship against Orange Cassidy. Give me Moxley. Don't even got to think about this one. This is the lock of the card.
You know, I'm sitting
like
here
if this was UFC betting, he'd be minus 5 million.
You know what I'm thinking here is I have never in my life ever thought Jon Moxley, Dean Ambrose could be as bad as whoop, 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 whoop. When we started this podcast, how many times did I fucking do the whoop, whoop, whoop thing?
Oh, yeah.
And this might rival it. Like, I'm trying, but their idea last week of Jon Moxley taking over the Superstation, I was watching this going, what the fuck am I watching? Like,
it's so bad.
I am
started out interesting, and
yes.
I think Dom and I discussed it in the chat. Every week, it has just got progressively worse, and I'm losing more and more interest.
Here's the thing. If somebody's an artist, I get it. Sometimes you paint a piece of art and you look at it and you're like, I don't get it, but someone else might. Unfortunately, wrestling is kind of like art in that
you're making art for an audience, though.
Right. And that's the difference exactly, is that when you're making a piece of art, you either care about the audience interaction and what they connect to, or you don't. This feels like an artist for being artist's sake and ignoring every fucking red flag along the way and go, I'm making Picasso. And I don't care if anybody likes it. And that's what I'm watching. And I mean, I haven't watched tonight. I won't know until I'm done with this, but it hurts my feelings because it has the potential to make a lot of sense here. But I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
I think it's one of those things, and we need to look in the mirror, because how many times this year with an AEW storyline have we said, oh, this has so much potential, this could be so good. And within a couple weeks, it's fucked. Like, it's just like they don't know how to do it. Like, I know it's like an easy thing to say AEW's like not good at storytelling. They're not. They have some wrestlers who are good at storytelling and can like get pushed through it because of it. Like the MJFs of the world, the Christian Cages, like Swerve even. They're in Heyman, like they are capable of rising above the terrible fucking writing and leadership. But for the most part, with a lot of these storylines, it's just like Mox is like, he's one of those guys. You're exactly right. He is that director that when he's making a movie, he's making it for himself as opposed to the people who have to watch it. Fucking wrestling, you are a performance artist. You are creating something for the entertainment of others, not for yourself. And that's why you have bosses, you have bookers, you have writers, because we know what happens when wrestlers get in charge of their own shit. Watch AEW every week. You get to see it, as opposed to WWE, where you don't see it because there's limited creative freedom.
Our boy Dom says that the only thing keeping me interested is the payoff, and if AEW fucks that up, it's going to be ugly. He does say it's up there with the devil.
That thing was fucked. That
again, good premise though. Good
That's
premise.
the thing is like the ideas aren't bad. It's just they can't do it, and it's really fucking annoying.
The devil is still much better than the death match.
Yeah, that thing was bad.
Here's the thing. I appreciate them trying different things. But the thing that I always look at is when you write a story, you need a good beginning and a good end. However, that's where they stop. They probably have a good ending and a good beginning, but the shit in the middle, they haven't figured out. And that to me is how you keep it going. And you need to at least have check marks, checkpoints, something here. You can't tell a good story with a beginning and an end. You need to keep us on that journey. And journeys are what keep people on television, keep people in their seats when they're attending an event, and more importantly, keeping it afloat. So I don't have any faith yet that I have not seen. The only thing I will say, the best storyline in AEW history, in my opinion, is still Tony Storm and Mariah May. From beginning, middle, and end, it made sense. And I like that.
I'd have to go back to some of the earlier stuff because they've had other good ones. That's the most recent. So it's very prevalent in our mind. And it's definitely by far their best one of this year. And it's not even close. But I'd have to really think because they have in the past done a better job with some stuff. That's something I'd have to really think about. But as a prisoner of the moment, I absolutely could see you having that take for sure.
Okay.
Well, we're through that shitty card.
Yep. Not watching that shit.
No, it's one of those like I'll seek out Lashley and Swerve. If Dom tells me Ospreay and Fletcher gives me a boner, I'll watch that. I'll probably watch Mercedes match because her and Stat on paper is a good match, but it doesn't feel like a pay-per-view match with their feud. So, but yeah, no Mariah May in this card. That's surprising.
Mira.
They have enough to book this fucking Costco piece of shit, but they can't fucking book one of their best acts.
I don't know.
Good job. No Young Bucks. Kenny Omega doesn't even want to fucking work here anymore. He'd rather do fucking shit overseas that barely anyone watches comparatively.
The good part is that the pay-per-views usually hold up despite the lack of builds.
Yeah, it'll be good wrestling, but it's just like they gotta sell these things. That's the problem. And they're not. They sell to their base who is buying it no matter what.
Right.
They could fucking air 4 hours of people shitting in the middle of the ring and these people would buy it. Like you have to get if we're not interested in it, we're people that follow it and watch it. It's like, that means they're not even reaching the people who are like in the next tier outside of us. Cause we're close. Like as much as it sounds like we're anti-AEW, I'm not. I still watch it. There's so many people there I like. I want them to succeed. But at the end of the day, like I'm investing my time into it. I have to give my honest opinion. It is a fucking pile of shit right now. And it's disappointing because we fucking watch it. We invest time in it. So that's why we have these reactions, because we care. You don't fucking complain about things you don't care about. You complain about things you care about. So.
Well said. I think we're out of here. Yeah, we're good?
Yeah, let's get out of here.
All right. On that note, thank you for listening and watching the Jobberknocker podcast. We'll be back next week with some more Jobberknockery.